We saw the invisible, we saw the possibilities, believed in the brand, and it translated the vision into a reality. A strong, powerful and vibrant SACCO is what we see today. Muhasibu SACCO, the leading SACCO in East and Central Africa.
It's probably the worst human experience that anybody can go through.
The current population in Kakuma refugee camp is 170,000 persons. 55,000 of the population are from South Sudan.
I was recruited as a child soldier when I was having 10 years old. It is really destruction.
She fights for peace in the war zones of Africa and picks up the pieces of broken societies. She feeds a hungry continent and powers its economy with her labor. And yet Africa has not always been kind to its women. True, there are many cultures where a woman's place is respected, but in many they are excluded from leadership and decision-making, the crucial role they play taken for granted.
Kenya Airways, the pride of Africa. We are an airline that has continued to stand the test of time. Our desire is to take our company to greater heights and thus give our clients the best of service. We are proudly African. We take pride for being at the forefront in connecting the African continent to the world, as well as connecting the world to Africa. The last 10 years have seen the airline undergo a major milestone. Some of the factors key to this growth include the company's turnover, fleet size, destinations, as well as human capital. The East African market welcomed Toyota when a regional office was opened in Kenya in 1962. And the first Toyota car was introduced to the market in 1964. To understand our customers better, we engage them to gain feedback and input from their perspective. This greatly helps us to learn new ways of continuously improving our service delivery. The Toyota Motor Corporation produces an average of 4.5 million vehicles every year. That's equivalent of one car every 60 seconds.
Vegetation forms the center of human and animal existence. Constitutionally, 10% of the country's total size must be forested. In Kenya, the Mau Complex is the largest forest ecosystem. The Mau Complex is the largest water catchment area in Kenya, with rivers like the Mara, Sondu and Ewaso Nyiro originating from it. These rivers feed several lakes including the Lake Nakuru, Lake Victoria, Lake Naivasha and the Lake Natron in Tanzania.
This campaign therefore is asking Kenyans, please For the sake of the generations to come, let us do it.
Farming in Africa is the most prevalent economic engagement. Indeed, it is a way of life, as 80% of the people of this vast continent depend on it for their livelihood. Grain production is the most preferred activity in this sector. For many years, tilling and land preparation took place the same way year in year out. The farmers worked hard to get a better crop in the new season. However, the weather always ruled and determined what they got. If the yields were good, other challenges lay along the way. Poor storage, post-harvest pests, theft, greedy middlemen, and poor prices, to name a few. There was no guarantee that the farmer would benefit fully from their sweat. When market liberalization was introduced to most African economies, the farmers were least prepared, as they knew little about how to manage their farms as enterprises. Too many farmers, especially smallholders, still struggle to market their output.
Niliweka mahindi kwa warehouse, receiving system ikakaa for 3 months. Alafu nikauza at 3,300 babak.
A recent study by EAGC reveals that informal cross-border trade makes up to 60% of grain trade.
We carried out studies and surveys to look at how trade was happening and how much trade was going on in the region, and we found out a number of challenges. One of them was policy-related challenges, especially barriers to trade that are introduced every so often.
Eastern Africa Grain Council is contributing better food security on the continent by providing knowledge and skills about structured trading systems among active learning communities. This will have the long-term impact of reducing poverty among the most vulnerable communities on the African continent.
Years of wisdom, 40 years of strength, 4 decades of great contribution to the Kenyan economy, years of success in the global economy as well. Indeed, for these 4 decades, we have been leaders in the reinsurance industry, offering world-class services. Kenya Re is who we are, with strength and wisdom beyond borders.
The phenomenon called global warming, which scientists first started talking about loudly in the 1980s and is a result of the depletion of the ozone layer, is now manifesting itself. The ice caps in the northern hemisphere are melting, leading to rising levels of water in the oceans. Temperatures are becoming high, making it unsuitable for the production of certain crops which require moderate temperatures. Faced with this problem, government, through its research centers such as the Chitedze Research Center and in collaboration with the International Center for Research in Semi-Arid Africa, have been researching on crops that can withstand the effects of climate change. The crops include pigeon peas, which traditionally are grown in the southern part of Malawi.
The focus has been to develop pigeon pea varieties that will take reasonable time to reach maturity.
This work is also being done with the understanding that traditionally tobacco has been considered the main cash crop for Malawi, grown both by commercial farmers and small-scale producers.
Since its establishment in 1974, the Kenya Bureau of Standards has continued to offer world-class standardization for goods and services. Its dedication to fulfilling its mandate as the national standards body has helped bring sanity in the manufacturing, export and import industries, thus tremendously reducing the cost and losses incurred through the purchase and use of substandard and counterfeit goods. Kenya Bureau of Standards, providing quality products for quality life. Since 1994, the story of African Nazarene University is a showpiece of the Church of the Nazarene working in Africa through higher education. A dream born and driven by men of astounding faith has seen the rise of what is now one of the most respected universities in this region.
On the beautiful black color that covers Africa lies a visible light that shines academic, an institution that has stood the test of time to become what it is today. This is KCA University, a leading business university of choice. A new idea is delicate, and it can be killed by anything if not nurtured or put into action to bear great fruit. These are great words that can be echoed by Mr. Muchekehu, who shared his idea with a team that he believed would be dedicated and see it grow.
We realized that the country wasn't going to go very far unless there was enough qualified people to be able to run the economy. And this is how the idea started.